Today on Up at Noon, Brian and Max have been kidnapped. Are you a bad enough dude or dudette to rescue them? Just kidding, they're at Comic-Con and the show isn't live, but we made this for you anyway because we love you. So, shut up and watch it.
We're jamming on.
What? No,
Thanks
you
a
were
lot.
off. You were off time that
I was
time.
off beat.
You were playing our invisible instruments wrong.
We'll have plenty of practice before we open up for Hoobie Jubles and the Jets next week in Vegas.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Up at Noon Live, the #1 musical variety show here on IGN, where we play our own invisible instruments and we play a song that we totally wrote ourselves and didn't get off a stock music library. Up at Noon is a show where we talk about all the fun stuff that's happening around the internet and pop culture and games and movies and toys and all that stuff.
Yep.
There's a lot of different ways you can consume it, live through IGN.com, Twitch TV, YouTube, Facebook, the IGN PS4, Xbox One, Roku box, or Apple TV apps. Did I forget anything?
No, if you power on all those devices at the same time, you'll actually have a burnout that will extend to the length of your entire block. So if you hate your neighbors, watch our show everywhere.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, we've got a great show lined up. First of all, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Mafia 3. Coming out real soon. We talked about this last week on the show. It's a game where you can throw people into the swamp and the alligators eat them. So we're obviously on board with that.
Really cool sort of open world crime-driven game.
Yeah, as might have been suggested by the title, the Mafia. That's like a crime word. So if you're scared of crime, be careful. But if you're not scared of crime, we have an opportunity that will let you actually possibly, in fact, win a copy of the game or some other cool swag. Basically, go to go.ign.com/mafia3_sweeps, and you can check out these postcards from New Bordeaux. And if you share a postcard on Twitter, you get an extra entry for a chance to win. So it's like a raffle. It's like an old-timey raffle.
It's the Mafia 3 postcard sweepstakes.
Yeah.
And you'll actually have a chance to win lots of prizes. You'll also get a better chance of winning prizes if you make your own postcard, which is really cool. What kind of prizes are we talking about, Max?
You can get a collector's edition of the game, which is really cool. It comes with Playboy stuff, and also an art book for the game, and the soundtrack on vinyl, which is gorgeous. And you can also win a Mafia 3 duffel bag or fuzzy dice to hang from your mirror in your classical car.
No live alligators this time.
No, that's apparently horribly illegal and also cruel.
Apparently they kept eating the UPS guys.
Yeah, so anyway, because Mafia 3 is set in New Bordeaux, which is this kind of like this gritty, crimey, terrifying, crimey location that's based on, old school New Orleans, we figured we'd run down 5 movie locations that we would never want to visit. I actually do want to go to New Orleans.
I do too.
I think that seems like a cool place to go. But as far as places I don't want to go.
It's true. This hypothetical gets thrown around a lot. Like, what video game would you love to live in? What movie would you love to live in? Right? It's a sort of like a what would you bring in a desert island type situation.
But let's be realistic. There's plenty of places where we just wouldn't want to be there. It would suck.
Not at all.
So let's start things out. This one is bad for a number of reasons. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That pit with all the spikes in it where the ceiling's coming down. It's basically like Anxiety, the room. And he's in there with a little boy and a fire and some skeletons.
And us. You know what I love about this is that Indiana Jones and Short Round, they're handling business in there. They're taking care of the scenario. You and me, we're like, no!
Yeah, that's specifically what we do in that situation. I don't think the spikes scare me quite as much as the fact that to turn off the spikes, you got to reach through that disgusting praying mantis tunnel.
Yeah.
That's my least favorite part in any Indiana Jones movie.
I really don't like that.
Aside from the 4th entire movie. Moving on, here's one. Aliens. LV-426, never go there.
Did we get hatched?
We're actually hiding behind the egg.
Not a good place.
I don't think we know it's an egg. I love that we're trying to hide behind the 8-year-old girl. We're like, Ripley, help us! I mean, if we were there with Ripley, it'd probably be okay, but still, not a great time, not a good place to go. If nothing else, it just seems like it would be hell on my seasonal depression, because it's always foggy and overcast there.
Quick aside about those eggs, it always kind of weirded me out. They look like the top of like a fresh bun that came out of the oven that someone cut with a butter knife.
Really weird that you went with bun in that scenario.
Well,
anyway, another one, the Overlook Hotel from The Shining. Because we're in the foreground. We're blurry because we're in the foreground.
Okay.
Sorry, our producer was asking dumb questions back there. Anyway, that's a scary hotel. Fun fact, if you pull up Google Maps and you type in home and you don't have like your personal home set up, it'll pull up the location of this actual hotel.
Why?
I don't know, because it's a haunted application. I don't know.
Horrible.
Yeah, but anyway, also, aside from it being just a nightmare terror hotel, that wallpaper is just garish.
So, quick cheat code, if something haunted's happening behind you, turn around.
Yeah.
It's not real anymore.
Ghosts aren't there if you can't see them.
It's true.
On that note, Here's us turning around from danger. Camp Crystal Lake is another place we wouldn't want to go. First of all, there's a murderer who lives in the woods there named Jason Voorhees. Voorhees a jolly good fellow. But also, I don't like lake weeds. I think they're just awful.
Hey, so I know fat kids go swimming with t-shirts on. How fat are we that we go in with like full suits and jackets?
I mean, fat enough that we need a floaty. I like that we're also probably more scared of this attractive camp counselor than we are of the leering murderer behind us. And then, of course, Buffalo Bill's basement. I don't want to go down there. That man's got a dog that barks all the time, and he's always playing 80s pop jams, and he doesn't wear any clothes. Also, moths. Just dozens of moths everywhere.
Dude, let's be honest, the music's the best part of being there.
Yeah, Q Lazarus is a jam.
I'm totally into that.
Anyway, goodbye horses. These are places we don't want to go. Where do you guys not want to go? You should tell us that. Please.
Don't take our skin.
Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, Disney's doing a really good job. This is a great little shift of topic there. Speaking of skinning human beings...
No, usually we're pretty good at that. We're like, we build a little bridge between segments and we go, here's this other thing. I was like, speaking of taking skin, Disney's taken a lot of... No, they haven't. Disney's having a great year in cinema across a bunch of different things. And I think it's very, very interesting to look at because... Disney had a dark ages. Disney had a time around the 90s, probably around when you and I were sort of being like, getting our first, getting the chance to be dropped off in front of a movie theater and being like, what do we want to see? Back when you loved things like The Lion King and Aladdin, but you didn't really love The Lion King 1.5 and Return of the Jafar direct to VHS.
I thought Return of Jafar was okay, but I mean, I was just a big Aladdin fan. But Lion King 1.5, they couldn't even do like a full sequel.
Yeah, I think there was an era where Disney was sort of like figuring their stuff out, and they were putting money in theme parks, and they were like, who are we? Around the same time where Lego was kind of doing the same thing. This year, I don't think that question needs to be asked anymore, because Disney has 3 of the highest grossing movies of 2016. Yeah. Actually, 4 out of the top 10. Let's take a look at, this is from Box Office Mojo.
This is crazy.
So BB Buena Vista, that's Finding Dory, Captain America Civil War, The Jungle Book, and Zootopia. So 3 out of 4 of those movies highly betting on animals there, which seems to be a good payoff.
And of course, it's only October right now, so of course they still have Doctor Strange, which comes out November 4th, Mona, which comes out November 23rd, and Rogue One, which comes out December 16th, and all of those are timed pretty perfectly with holidays.
Yeah.
I mean, Doctor Strange is probably less of like, I mean, I don't know how many people's dads are going to be like, I want to see Doctor Strange, But I mean, a lot of people are down with Benedict Cumberbatch. In any case, Mona's like, you can take the whole family to go see that, and then Star Wars is Star Wars, so it's like, you're stuck at home with your relatives.
I think is kind of amazing because if you look at their lineup right now, and here are some of the posters of our upcoming movies that they're still going to make lots of money on this year. They're firing on all cylinders. They're making kids happy. They're making adults happy. They're making kidults happy. They're making people like you and me who grew up with Star Wars happy. They've got Star Wars. They've got Marvel. They've got like animated movies like Zootopia, which I feel like scale really well.
Yeah, dude, I watched that 2 days ago. I love that movie.
Yeah, like it's a great movie depending on how old you are. It doesn't matter, right? You throw it out the window.
It's 48 Hours meets Richard Scarry. It's awesome.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like when you looked up one day and you're like, wow, everyone has an iPhone and everyone has an iMac, or like all of a sudden Apple went from being this like weird quirky company to being like, oh, they're everywhere. Like they own everything. And whether or not you agree with everything they're doing, or whether or not you agree with Disney's sort of like slow imposed monopoly on the movie industry, it's really cool to see stuff like Spider-Man coming out soon and Star Wars Episode 8. Like if you grew up with comic books and action figures and Star Wars, like they're doing really good jobs with those things.
Yeah, dude.
If you grew up with like the Jungle Book, like the new Jungle Book is awesome.
I was really worried that like when they bought Marvel and they bought Star Wars, I'm like, this could be really bad. And then so far it's gotten consistently better since then. A lot of people are going to argue about that, but like, I mean, the Marvel, like, Disney didn't make Fantastic Four 1 or 2 or Daredevil.
Yeah.
They didn't make, I mean, I guess Blade Trinity was okay. But I mean, they weren't making, those things. And now we've got stuff like, Avengers, and we've got Civil War, and it's awesome.
I mean, Disney kind of helped to bring us out of the dark ages of comic book movies. They brought us out of the dark ages of Star Wars movies. They brought us out of the dark ages of Disney movies. And with stuff like the Jungle Book and the upcoming Lion King remake that Jon Favreau is working on.
And Mulan.
Like, really cool stuff. And I think they're taking old ideas, they're making them fresh fresh again. They're taking stuff we grew up that we cherish, and they're not trampling it, running into the ground.
Yeah.
So this is actually really cool.
I mean, the fact that Disney is a household name and that Disney cartoons are beloved characters, in spite of the fact that they maybe haven't really appeared in much. Like Mickey Mouse hasn't really been doing a whole lot in recent years, but he's still this like iconic character, and I feel like Disney understands how to build a legacy of known IPs. So
absolutely,
that's cool.
So yeah, good time to be a movie fan, good time to be a comics fan and a Star Wars fan and a fan of animal films.
Yeah. On the subject of Disney and Marvel, one thing that premiered very recently was Luke Cage dropped this weekend.
Yeah.
The latest Netflix series, the kind of street level Marvel universe. You watched it? What do you?
Yeah.
What do you
So
think
I'm 11 and a half episodes in, which is like such a crappy place to stop. Like, if it wasn't for work today, I would have finished it. Because it's a 13-episode series. I'll be totally honest. I think this is the kind of show that could gain a lot from the way British television is sort of spaced out. This would have been a great 6 or 7 or even 8, like Stranger Things episode series. But all in all, there isn't a single character I dislike on the show. I actually like it more than Jessica Jones and Daredevil, probably combined. It's just a cool sort of, it's nice to visit New York City from the perspective of these characters. But one of the things that really struck me immediately is that for someone like me who grew up on hip-hop music, the soundtrack is awesome. Like, it's very, very different than anything you'd really expect from Marvel or even Netflix or anything like that. So if you're watching the show and you're going, wow, that's a really catchy tune in the background, and you're thinking, how do I get more stuff like this? Really good hip-hop isn't necessarily always in your face, so I figured we'd go down a quick list of some awesome albums you should check out after this. All of these are on Spotify or YouTube, or just whatever you got to do to listen to music, however you consume it. So we're going to run through some of the best albums that you should listen to after watching Luke Cage. And here we go. Starting with number 1, Mass Appeal, The Best of Gangstar. Now, the cool thing about Gangstar is that there are 2 people in this group, DJ Premier, who's one of the best hip-hop producers of all time, and Guru, who's their MC. Every title of every episode on Luke Cage is actually named after a song that Gangstar produced and put out, which is a really cool little nod. And it's something I didn't really notice until 3 or 4 episodes in. I was like, oh wow, these are all song titles. It's great. Mass Appeal is their best of, and it's sort of this great culmination of everything they've ever done before.
Would you say it's the best of what they've made before?
Yeah.
Like it's some of their greatest hits?
I would say so. But you know how like greatest hits go, if you're a fan, there's always a couple songs where you're like, well, that should have been on there, but it wasn't. But it's definitely a great first exposure into Gangstar, who are awesome. Guru passed away a couple years ago, so they don't make new music anymore, but DJ Premier's still kicking around. Next up, you've got The W by Wu-Tang, one of my favorite rap groups of all time, and you're probably sitting there going like, what about 36 Chambers or Forever? They're way better albums. Totally, and you're right, but The W is really awesome because it leans very heavily on a lot of Isaac Hayes samples. He specifically is on the album, and Isaac Hayes is actually played all over the Luke Cage soundtrack. They'll drop his songs in a couple of different ways. RZA sampled his songs to make songs for the W. There's plenty of Wu-Tang references on Luke Cage, so it all sort of comes together magically. Coming up next, Ghostface Killah and Adrian Young, 12 Reasons to Die. Adrian Young does a lot of the background music on Luke Cage with a producer from Tribe Called Quest named Ali Shaheed Muhammad. Now, Adrian Young put together this album of instrumental music that sounds like something RZA would have produced or sampled from. So it's sort of like a copy of, and Ghostface raps all over it. Fun fact about that, Ghostface's nickname through all of the 90s was Iron Man, and Iron Man is a Marvel character.
There you go.
Who they're actually allowed to specifically name on Luke Cage because of the weird laws with all that. You know, like they can't call the Hulk, they call him like the big green guy. So Iron Man is actually name dropped on the soundtrack through Ghostface, but not necessarily legally allowed to be said by the title characters.
I love that stuff. I love the intersection of the Marvel Universe and the real world.
Very weird. Speaking of Adrian Young, he did an album, he did the soundtrack with Alicia Haid Muhammad, who produced for a group called Tribe Called Quest for a very long time. This is their best of album. Honestly, all of their albums are fantastic, but if you want to get it all in one spot, this has really great songs like Can I Kick It and Benita Applebum. This was Phife Dawg, who passed away recently, and Q-Tip rapped on these beats. One of the best producers of all time, just one of the best hip-hop groups. Really good feel-good music, so go check that out.
Hey, quick question. If I don't have time to listen to it, what's the answer to that? Can I kick it?
Yes, you may.
All right.
That's the British polite version.
Of course you can.
There's a flashback on Luke Cage, which throws back to the 80s, which a character named Pops is talking about him growing up. And it brings you sort of through the eras of the old school hip hop, but eventually it brings you to the kind of gritty 90s era of hip hop, which Old Dirty Bastard, member of Wu-Tang, was part of. This is Return of the 36 Chambers. You heard his song, which I can't say, Shame on an N-word. In the trailers for Luke Cage, that dun 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 dun, that just famous iconic piano line that I think made classically trained professional piano players all over the world go, "What the hell? You can do that? That's 2 notes." So that's a great album. It's really gritty and it's really awesome. It works perfectly with that show. Next, we got Eric B. and Rakim. I really love this album cover. This is a throwback to the Pops era, which is the older character who gets shot very early on Luke Cage. He runs a barbershop. It shows him in the 80s kind of wrecking dudes with his Kangol and everything like that. This is how people used to dress. This is like hockey jerseys and giant like Frisbees you wore around your neck. Eric B., who is really all out there for the money, the business guy, and Rakim, who's this very classically trained rapper. Awesome guy. It shows this sort of dichotomy of what the show is about. You have good people and you have bad people, and they're all thrown together in the world of crime.
Finally.
And second to last, we got Method Man to Cal. Method Man actually is a character on the show. He plays himself, and then he does a rap about Luke Cage. That's not a spoiler or anything, just this cool little thing. Tikal is Method Man's first solo album and by far his best, so go listen to that. And finally, the main bad guy for most of the show is a guy named Cottonmouth, although he doesn't like to be called that. He's got a poster of Biggie in his lair wearing a crown, and this is Notorious B.I.G.'s Ready to Die, the album he recorded right before he died, sadly and ironically. So yeah, those are 8 albums you should definitely listen to before, after, or during you watch Luke Cage on Netflix. And that was a nice little excuse to talk about hip-hop right here on IGN.
Isn't that great? Now, you like hip-hop, I like riding bicycles and video games, which is what Guts and Glory is all about. Let's take a look.
Hey everybody, it's Max and Brian. We're playing Guts and Glory. I'll be Guts, you can be Glory.
Great.
Okay, this is a game. This is a weird, free, early alpha release. I don't know really how to describe it, so let's just start playing it.
Let's just jump in.
I think we should do like Old Cabin Hill sounds like a good one there.
All right.
This is sort of a racing game, kind of.
Yeah.
You can play as up to currently 2 characters.
Let's play as the Yang family.
The Yang family is unavailable, as
Okay.
indicated by the large unavailable sign. Let's do Jimmy John here. John and Jimmy, they're a nice pair of family folks. This is free.
Okay.
And you may be able to tell why, because it's clearly a work in progress, and you have this little boy on the back of the thing
This
here.
looks like if you tried to buy GTA 5 at the dollar store.
Yeah, and I'm kind of really into that. I would totally buy GTA 5 at the dollar store.
Okay, so what's the purpose of this game?
The purpose is you're supposed to get through this nightmare landscape. This is Old Cabin Hill, of course, but unfortunately there's like crossbow turrets that are trying to kill my son while I'm riding my bicycle with him on the back. Look at this kid. He's just like freaking out in the back.
Yeah, he's not doing good.
The last time I played, he fell off and I was like, fine. Yeah,
Wow,
you can do like 6
land.
stunts. Yeah, right?
Who's shooting arrows
He's got
at
an
us?
arrow sticking out of his leg. Look at that little boy. He got shot with an arrow. I think I've got like a boost button somewhere. I don't really know how to do it. Oh, God, I'm into slow motion, I think. There's my little light, so if I'm doing it night driving, I can get into that. I can also just ride my bike.
He's got an arrow through his head now.
Did we seriously? My son is dead. Oh, I got like stabbed in the stomach.
It's through your butt.
Yeah, so this game is it's pretty great. We did it. We
Hot
won.
diggity.
All right, so that's a new. Let's try another track.
Okay.
I want to get in. Let's get real gnarly. Let's get
Whiplash.
Whiplash sounds cool. Yeah. So this game is very violent.
Okay.
Apparently John and Jimmy are the only ones available here. I do want to play as Earl in a little bit. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's
you can
get into
barrel
this.
roll.
Whoa. Okay.
God.
Oh, it's a turbo boost. Okay, we gotta just get down the street here. Oh.
Oh!
Wait, what?
Your son exploded.
How am I still alive?
What?
I don't know.
How are you pedaling with one foot? I
don't.
guess
This
that's
is incredible.
6 stunts. Ah.
Yeah, so it's one of these games.
I don't like that at all.
Let's try another check. I want to play as Earl. I like Earl a lot. How about let's get really insane. Cannons on Main Street.
Okay.
There's Earl.
There he is.
He's great. So Earl's just trying to go hunting,
Merlin
like you
Durrell
do.
from The Walking Dead. Okay. Oh,
Unfortunately, there's
cannons
there's cannons all over. All my guns and baseball bats fell off the back of my quad. I just like this. Why did I? It's blasting me into
they're
meat.
knocking that hammer all around town.
I love video games. This is exactly my favorite type of game to play.
Goodness.
All right, let's see how John and Jimmy fare in this nightmare
All right,
place.
bring us home to Cannon Town.
All right, let's.
Oh.
They blasted my boy.
Oh.
Why did? Oh god, they hit the.
That is really
Where'd my
unsettling.
bike go?
Look at that meat. Oh. Wait,
He just shrieks as he goes inside the house. Yeah, all right.
Anyway.
This is a pretty cool game. So you can get this Guts and Glory. It's free. It's for Mac and Linux and PC. So go check it out. It works with the controller or with the keyboard.
That's horrible.
Yeah, man. It's just a nightmare. You're just a single parenting is rough. You gotta just bicycle down, just right around here.
All right, bring us home, Max.
All right, hold on. Let me just
One last sick stunt for the road.
sick ass stunt. Whoa! Games are hard. All right, so there we go.
Thanks for
Guts
watching.
and Glory.
Oh.
I can't wait to play more of that game. I really want to see what it's like to play as the Yang family or that mysterious fourth character.
So you don't really see a lot of like younger characters get decimated in video games.
Yeah, the baby getting shot full of arrows. That's a video
Okay,
game.
you said it. They're really going, oh, hello, everybody. It's me, Jared Petty.
Oh,
with your
get outta here.
Retro video game reviews.
Oh, no.
Coming up next is a review for the emulator Nesticle. It sounds like a testicle, but it's got Nest in the title,
Jared.
and if you love Nest, you'll love Nesticle. Available now on the PC, CD-ROM, and Mac stores everywhere. You're supposed to fly away.
Hold on, wait. Oh, I was going to blow him off. I was going to blow him off. I was going to fly away like that.
Don't blow my face.
I don't know, if you got a ghost on your face, you got to blow on it. Anyway,
Look, we talked about Luke Cage earlier, awesome comic book TV show, but there's also been a lot of comic book movies, including some more that are coming out soon. But Max, not all comic book movies are comic book movies. Some of them lie to us.
yeah, some of them just come right in, they tell you the wrong thing, and they try to trick your mom into renting a movie that is not at all about people in tights. So I figured I'd run down a bunch of movies that are totally disappointing and misleading because they aren't the things we want them to be, starting with one that disappointed me at a very young age, or at least confused me, the Deadpool. Which is not about Deadpool. That is a Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry movie, which probably was something of an influence on Deadpool, but, you know, nevertheless, not what I wanted. Then, of course, I remember hearing about The Avengers when that first came out in 1998. That's also not about The Avengers, but that was also at a point in time where they were doing a very bad job of adapting comic book movies, so I thought for a second that maybe it was, but it's not. So just go watch the Avengers movies with the superheroes in them, because they're more fun. Nightcrawler, really good movie. Totally not about Kurt Connors. Kurt Wagner, what am I saying? Kurt Connors is the lizard. I should have looked that one up too. And of course there's Venom, which nope, not really.
It sort of looks like it's about Venom.
It could be. Like, it's one of those ones you could probably Photoshop that, but it's not. That's not the case.
Definitely not about a guy named Eddie Brock who gets an alien symbiote
Not
in jail.
the one. And then, of course, there's Carnage, which is absolutely, definitely not about Carnage.
Are you sure? John C. Reilly looks kind of like Carnage in the middle there.
That would be really weird if Roman Polanski directed a Carnage movie. Then, of course, Invincible. Not about Invincible, the Image comic. That would be real disappointing if it was just about him playing football. Excalibur. Nope. Not the European X-Men. Sorry, that's not what that is about. It's about a different sword.
It looks pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, that's probably the closest to a superhero movie on this list, aside from the Avengers back there. Quicksilver is not about Magneto's son who runs fast. It is about Kevin Bacon on a bicycle.
That's actually probably the most disappointing mashup of all of these. That looks like a bad movie no matter what.
I read a lot of comics. I don't know what happens if Quicksilver tries to ride a bike. Does he just make it explode? Because he can move real fast doing a lot of stuff.
I mean, he could
running
probably
with
get on a bike hooked up to like a generator and power something.
Yeah, or break the bicycle. I just want to see him get on a bike and just make it explode. Anyway, then of course there's this one which came out recently, Birdman, which starred Batman. But it's not about Birdman, the Birdman. It's
Harvey
about a different
Birdman?
Birdman. Yeah. No, it's about like Robert Birdman or something.
But it's also kind of a comic book movie.
Yeah, kind of. That one's the jury's out on that one, and I hope they've hired Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. Wildcats, the Jim Lee. This was the best image I could find from that comic.
Really?
Well, with a white background.
I don't remember that scene at all.
That might have been from my DeviantArt account. Anyway, Goldie Hawn in a football movie about Wildcats, not really so much related to the Jim Lee Wildcats, CATS being an acronym.
She's got the same hair, though.
Pretty much, yeah. Anyway, Rogue. Not about Rogue, but it's about a crocodile.
Oh, dude, from the director of Wolf Creek?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that's a
gotta
selling
be
point
good.
there. All right, so moving on, then of course there's Dead Man. It's not the same one. So you can watch it, but it's not about that man. And then then there's this one, The Blob, which you should know better, and also this one, The Thing. That's not about the Thing at all either. And then finally, The Darkness is not the darkness. It's a different darkness. Darkness is really a pretty vague concept. So if you saw that and you were like, oh, good, they're finally making a movie based on this. What is it, Joe Madera, or was that man's name? I forget his name. But that, the old comic book. It's a horror movie.
It's actually about a bunch of kids that were finger painting and slapped a comforter.
That's what happens when the chimney sweeps come and tuck you in at night. It's about the horrors of being a chimney sweep's daughter. Anyway, I haven't seen that movie, so I don't actually know what that's about. Mm-hmm. But yeah, those are a bunch of movies that are not about superheroes. If you were expecting them to be about superhero movies, now you know better, because we warned you on this serious show.
Max, what console do you think you're going to spend the most money buying games for this year?
I don't know, Super Nintendo?
You think so?
I
was thinking actually the Jaguar.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a lot of games coming out this fall. But have you heard of Smart Mouse and Custodian? Because a company named Pico Interactive has, and they're actually printing brand new retro carts for very old consoles. These are games you can buy that are actually on cartridges that will play on your old systems. So let's take a look. We've got stuff like Creepy Bird, U-Wall, Mazzacream, Mazaram.
Rockfall.
Yeah. So these are kind of budget price games, but they're old school video games coming out for old school systems in the year of us, 2016.
Yeah. This is kind of bonkers. We've got a few things like this in the office here. Wow, Game Boy Color. What do they got there? Nothing. All right.
Coming soon.
Anyway, Sam Claiborne, who does like a lot of, he's just a kind of a retro man in general. He has like this NES game that's a bunch of classic songs from the 80s, but they just play through like this NES jukebox. But you put it in your Nintendo and it plays you like ABBA.
Do you want to click on that? Pull up the box art for Custodian.
Custodian?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Custodian is the very first release for the Atari Jaguar by Pico Interactive. The game is an arcade shooter in which you have to protect energy bases from parasites. This is a $75 game, but the screenshots actually look kind of legit for what a game like this could be.
Sure.
Very weird. So we've also got Super Nintendo
What
games.
about Dork and Yimp?
See, this sounds like something that would have come to Super Nintendo.
All I do is sit around while looking cuddly while I set to chop wood. Okay, this looks like an actual Super Nintendo game from back in the day.
So this is like a little nightmarish action platformer.
Is that Arthur?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like the
like the PBS show.
He sells keys. Head on over to picointeractive.com if you want to buy some brand new games for your very old consoles, and you don't mind spending something like $75 on a Jaguar game. It's in 2016. Keep in mind,
what a weird time.
64 bits. That can get you places.
Yeah. What a weird time for video games.
It really is.
What a bizarre time to be doing this hobby. Anyway, it's probably not as weird as being a robot enthusiast, because that's always changing. There's always new robots. Toyota announced that they are releasing a $400 approximately in yen friendship robot named Kirobo. This is Toyota, the car company. I believe we have some footage of this robot. It doesn't really do much that I can tell. It hangs out. It's a robot.
He sets off rockets.
He comes with a small cradle that you can put in. I guess he goes to space.
Is he in space?
Yeah, if you send him to space. Fun fact about products is if you send a product to space and you film it, you can put that in the commercial and it makes it look cooler.
He gets all the water out of your car into the sea.
Apparently, yeah, that's an ice-powered Prius. But yeah, this is Kirobo. It's just like a weird little Toyota Furby.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, like
It's
he's
me.
cute. He's a cutie. But like, I don't know what he does. He talks to you. But this is Japan we're talking about. They're into robots there. I mean, who isn't?
This is funny because my grandmother can't even work her TV.
Yeah, but does your TV gyrate on the coffee table like it's got worms?
Oh, she's getting
My
into
dog
it.
does that sometimes, but that means that something's wrong.
It looked like he released some spores there.
Yeah, I like for a second where it looked like, oh yeah, that's great. Look around at your robot while you're driving your car. Just put a robot in the car itself, okay?
They're going to set him free by throwing him in this ravine.
Anyway, this seems like one of those things that maybe it'll do okay in Japan, but I don't really see that happening here. You know, I think it's $392 American. It speaks Japanese. Don't think there's any plans to localize it, though. If you bought a Prius from Toyota and they were like, hey, you want a free robot? Like if that was part of the upgrade, would you go for that?
Yeah, I mean, if I bought a car and they threw in a robot, sure. But that means you have to be a Prius owner.
That's a good point.
Which means on top of having a Prius and telling everyone you have a Prius and that you're vegan and then you do CrossFit, you also have to tell everyone that you have a robot that you bring everywhere.
See, if you drive a Prius and you want to make it cool, the trick is you just got to get it all primer black and you get some off-road tires on there. And then you put a Judas Prius on the side in like metal font.
Yeah.
And then you get a robot. But that robot's got to be cooler like a Gundam.
Yeah, this robot, I think you could probably add stuff to him. That was a nightmare little sizzle rear at the end there.
Yeah.
So that's him.
That's Kurobo. That's the thing.
I hope you like him, because whether or not you do, he's coming after you soon.
Yeah. The fun thing about that is they found a little defect. It burrows into people's body cavities. It just gets right in there and just nestles in, lays its eggs. Yeah, it's back.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Jared Petty, and I've returned to tell you all about Nemu. Nemu is a Nintendo emulation system available on your phone. Hold on.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, you were possessed for a moment with the ghost of a retro gaming enthusiast.
That was tough. That was a very large exorcism.
Yeah, that's the trick with exorcism is if you just whack someone in the arm, usually the demons go flying right out.
I never really thought about that, like if you get possessed by someone bigger than you.
Yeah, what?
Like I'm large, but if you get a larger person inside me and he's just there.
I don't think they really is a size to the super... Anyway.
Are you sure?
No, yeah, no. What do we do here?
I don't know. I dare you to write a segue for this one.
All right, so speaking of large, terrifying things.
Yeah!
Boom, we got it. All right, so Play Arts Kai is a wonderful Japanese. It's actually published by. What am I saying? Published by. It's made by Square Enix. It is a toy line of really gorgeous high-end collector grade figures. They do all sorts of lines. They've got Gears of War. They've got X-Men. They've got Metal Gear Solid. Even stuff that has nothing to do with Square Enix. They have a bunch of Batman figures. Some of them are really cool. They totally look like Batman figures you'd expect. And then sometimes they just get incredibly weird. Like they made recently a Cowboy Batman, which a lot of people were like, I don't know how I feel about this. More recently, they're doing Batman action figures that are like Batman if he were dressed up as his villains. And it's called the Rogues Gallery Collection. They released images of what it would be like if the Joker was the Batman.
What?
And it's really awful.
Oh!
Now, I'm sure there's some people who are into this. He looks like a Soul Calibur character, kind of. Like,
Yeah,
this looks
a lot.
like a Voldo skin.
Or a Bloodborne boss.
Yeah. I just think it's just the worst. It just makes me unhappy to look at it.
So wait, Batman is dressing up as a Batman Joker guy to what, trick the Joker?
You know those shirts where they're like, hey, what if the Minions were in the Avengers? And you're like, oh, I get it. It's taking two things I understand and combining them. This toy is kind of doing that with two things that are really quite antithetical. So it's the Batman and the Joker. It's some nightmare, terrible version. Here's, like, that one on the left I really don't like, because he's kind of doing this sort of Buffalo Bill pose, and he's reaching out with his claw. He's got his flower on his belt now.
I don't like looking at this. This is very...
Sorry, you should keep looking at it, though. Just keep on looking at it.
This dude looks like he stinks.
So these toys typically run, they're pretty expensive. They're pricey. But this one is $200.
What?
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, you could probably find it cheaper somewhere around there, but it's like, that's a pricey toy for this particular thing.
Is it articulate?
Oh yeah, it's super articulate.
Okay.
It's got ball joints left and right. I mean, they make good quality toys for the most part, but I'm really not having this. It kind of makes me pine for the old days of just weird ass Kenner toys where they were like, what if Batman was doing scuba trips on Valentine's Day, or what if he had a zip line that he'd like to slide around on? Okay, guys, back in the studio, can you actually get rid of that image? I don't want to look at it anymore.
Yeah, can we stop looking at that?
All
Thanks
right,
a lot.
cool. We're done with that.
Okay, let's move on to something much better in terms of...
Stop it. Put it away.
God, set...
Thank you.
Are you done?
Nope.
Don't. Oh, he's back! I actually got a really awesome toy this week, and it sucks because I was like, you know what, I'm going to open this on the show, and then I realized the show wasn't the same day as the day I got the toy, which means I've had to keep a toy in the box for 24 hours, which I consider to be a plastic prison for action figures. I got the new Link Between Worlds Figma. I collect all the Nintendo Figmas, so they're really awesome. They made a whole line of these. They're very articulate. They've come with all these accessories and stuff like that. And instead of keeping them in his prison, let's open them up. Let's
let
take a
him
look what's
free.
inside.
Okay.
I got this guy from Big Bad Toy Store. Our producer, Zach Ryan, did the same. He's already got one on his desk, which I got to walk by and look at earlier. It's really, really cool.
You can get these all over the place. You could probably even get one at your local comic shop if you like to support small businesses and such.
Yeah, now something to keep in mind, they make two versions of this figure, the regular version and the deluxe version. The deluxe version is just a few bucks more and comes with every accessory you could ever want from him. There we go.
These are really collector friendly though, so like if you want to put them back in the box and sell them on eBay or whatever, you can totally do that.
Yeah.
They even come, I love this, I just recently got a Michael Jackson Figma. They come with a special Ziploc bag to store all the pieces and parts in. And if you want, you can just hang it on a hook, like it's a bag of seasonings at the grocery store.
So here we have, who we got? Link, waking up for the first time. Really cool. He's actually a little bit smaller than what you would normally see from Figmas. He's about 2/3 the size of the Skyward Sword one they've done, or the Samus one they've done. But he also comes with a whole bunch of different hands and faces. You can do
that.
different expressions.
He's got a little honey pot.
He's got a honey pot.
You
Yeah,
can put
I
a
love
bomb in it
this.
and blow the pot up.
He's also got a stand to help him stand up, so you can do all his little poses.
No, I like this one a lot. It comes with a bunch of extra hands, and they come on a nice little rack so you can, you know, not lose them.
Yeah. Now, here are his different faces. He's got a little My. If you played that game, those are the things he collects. Right over, and there he is. He just fell out.
Good job.
So yeah, these are really cool. They run from anywhere between like 45 and 55 bucks if you want to get them online. You might find them cheaper in a store somewhere. And Max, can you hand me the box? There's actually a little Easter egg back there.
There's an Easter egg.
Yeah, there is. There's a little secret.
What's the Easter egg?
At least I thought there was. Is
All
there,
right.
Zach?
Yeah, you gotta pull the green part out.
Here we go.
Oh! He comes with this little, he can turn into the chalk drawing and run along the walls.
That's right. Or his little helicopter spin that you can do right there.
Aw, that's so neat.
So this is really cool. This is the Figma Link Between Worlds Link. I really love his two expressions, especially his like kind of his angry one that just fell out right there. Let's take a look. Yeah, there he is. There he is right there. Perfect. So yeah, I'm going to be posing this thing on my desk for a while, and I really love it. This is really cool.
Yeah,
I hope everything didn't fall on the floor.
I'm holding out for a classic Link to the Past version, or maybe original Zelda, but they do make a bunch of these. They've got, like you said, the Skyward Sword one. There's also a Twilight Princess one, along with Twilight Princess Zelda, that just got announced like a few weeks ago. So, you know, if you're one of those people who wants a really awesome Zelda action figure, Google it, because they're out there. They're great. Stop that.
Why?
You're freaking me out.
I can do whatever I want.
No, you can't.
There
You
he is.
literally cannot do whatever you want.
I literally can.
Last week was awkward timing because we recorded the show the day before Force Friday, which is the day when all the Star Wars toys for the new movie came out. I love that both Star Wars movies are being annualized and Star Wars toy releases. That makes me very happy. But we got some Rogue One stuff in the office sort of late. This is now stuff you can go out there and buy.
Yeah.
This is a 12-inch Death Trooper. This is the new scary man, and he's a funny boy.
So this is an interesting scale because they make 4-inch scale figures. They make 6-inch scale figures in the Black Series line. We've got an 18-inch Death Trooper right here.
Here, hold on. Let's make him hold his baby son.
Okay.
Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
I'm into that.
Oh boy, this is a real stiff joint there. Here, you hold that together. I got an idea.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Jared Petty, and this is my son.
That's really
the
weird.
ultimate emulator and emulation software, the Genesis.
Hey everybody,
Genesis
it's
lets you play
me,
up to
the
25
Death
different-
Trooper. Please stop talking to my children. This is my oldest son, and then my youngest son who's being cared for by his elderly son. Thank you.
We ran out of stories. That's everything.
Yep, that was it. We
That's
also
the whole
got
show.
guns.
So I mean, you have two options. You can keep watching and just watch us play with toys and eat gummies, or you can go home.
It's
But, I
candy
mean,
party time.
Why would you want to go home?
Okay, so we got a couple Star Wars Nerf. You can just have a bag of the gummies. Just take them.
Just take them with you.
Just take them and. That was weird. That just fell out of the barrel. That wasn't supposed to happen at all. All right, so we got a couple of Star Wars Nerf guns. This one is based on Jyn Erso's blaster.
Yep.
They're like the glow in the dark ones. The darts all say Star Wars on them, and they
I
glow.
like the way the lights go on this one. Can you hit that?
You can kind of see it, and then it makes an annoying sound. But then it has this like. I don't know if I have enough ammo in here.
Grab the other one.
How do I make it? It's supposed to shoot stuff out of it.
What about this one, Max? Oh!
Is it jammed? What happened in here? I love how the show does well, but we're actually we're not live right now. We're at New York Comic Con, so
But you're
sorry.
watching it. Anyway, that's Up at Noon. That's the whole thing. That's all we had. I didn't know we'd make such a mess. All my toys are everywhere. There's gummies.
Yeah.
There's Nerf gun darts all over the room. We'll be at New York Comic Con all week, so be sure to stay on IGN and IGN YouTube to watch all of our coverage. We're doing a lot of cool videos there. We're checking out toys, checking out cosplay, covering some panels, going to the Walking Dead premiere, whole bunch of stuff. So if you love comics, movies, video games, entertainment, all that kind of stuff, IGN's the place to be. I'm Brian. That's Max. Don't move, because coming up next, IGN Plays Live is going to continue the live programming right here on IGN. And thanks for having us. This was a really good time.
Don't ever look down the barrel of a gun, because that's just bad. But it's a Nerf gun, man. We're eating gummies. We're adults. What do you want?
And Jared, thanks for watching. Are they gone? I think they're gone. We can eat now. Oh, thank God. No one's watching. We can eat all the gummy treats that are wonderful. I love to eat. Oh my God, they're watching us!
Just leave us alone with our misery,
Can we just eat and play with our toys? Can you go away? IGN Live is coming up next. You can watch them play games.
Oh, look, his hat rotates. That's cool.
Rest in peace.
Oh, he's got a little bracelet for lifting stuff like pots. Oh, that's awful.
Goodbye, everyone. Good night.
I'll see you in